You gotta start the show.
Okay, I have to introduce the whole thing now. This is Grindstone.
Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Cause only Columbus I know's Ohio. Wanna mess with me, you can't buy no. Day off, I'm like a rhino. Do what it takes and I'll go super psycho. I give this to the indigenous, living this like I'm from Oakland or something else, soaking in my kingship. In my neighborhood. People got the day off because they furloughed for good. Oh, damn. It's hella fucked up and I'm alone. Welcome. You with Grindstone. Just look at something to start. Now let me start. It's Indigenous Peoples Day today. It's a holiday. To be truthful, I really didn't even know that today was a holiday until yesterday. And then people weren't going to work. I guess I was slightly thrown off by that. Not much, because I remember the days where the only holidays that were a holiday for me were Christmas and Thanksgiving, which is, if you play the streets a little bit, those are really your only holidays. Everything else is cracking. And even on those days, it's kind of cracking, up to a certain point, and then everybody respectfully has to go to their own domicile. But what a year 2025 is, and figuring out just how important something as small as Indigenous Peoples Day would get flipped back so it would be known as Columbus Day. I didn't even know that, right? So the current president said, you know what? It's not about Indigenous people. Now these are the people these are the Native Americans who inhabited this land. Americans robbed that shit from them, and then the person who robbed it got a holiday, Christopher Columbus, with his lost ass. And so today is called Christopher Columbus Day rather than acknowledging the people who got stomped out. And, that's kind of a lesson to how history is written. History is written by the victors. And I guess if you could say, the white people won, then they're the ones who named it. And Christopher Columbus was actually a Spaniard. He was from Spain. And, history is a twisted little story that it'll behoove you to learn more about. But here we are on this holiday. And in the city of Washington, D.C., it's very quiet. As I always do, I took a beautiful walk today just to, walking is for the cool, first of all. But outside of that, walking is good for your overall health. And I also like to walk to just take the temperature of the city, just see what it is so I'm not in my house making stuff up. And it looks a little ugly outside today, but it's actually a decent day. A little bit of drizzle, but it's a decent weather day, not too cold. It looks colder than it is. It's not a very cold day. I'm wearing a sweatshirt, but it's one of them sweatshirt days, but it's not a sweatshirt jacket day, just a sweatshirt day. So anyway, I walked, and it was drizzling on the way back, which would directly combat my my jacket theory, but the trains were super empty. So I walked, but then since it was raining, I caught the train back from where I walked to. But the train, super empty. The streets, super quiet. And, it's kind of winter in America-ish. And I don't mean winter in America in terms of the seasons, but I just mean it's a certain barrenness to, the once playful streets of the turn of the turn of the year when the holidays are coming about. And whatever, it's a Monday. Okay, so maybe that's why it's quiet. And maybe I'm just waxing poetic, but it was just noticeable. So Everybody out there in TV land, hope y'all are getting a little nice chunk of the day under your belt with something having been accomplished, even if that something is rest. But if you didn't even get to rest, fuck it. Welcome to episode 78 of Sorry for My Language. Here we go. Nothing like coming out to an ovation. Sorry for my language. Welcome. I welcome you here. And this is my show about lifestyle philosophy, culture, and music. That's right. And I go over sometimes, one thing that I like to do, I enjoy music. I make music. So if you have yet to do it, go to whatever streaming platform you go to and look up Grindstone. And when you find Grindstone and you know it's me, subscribe, sign up for that joint, listen, enjoy yourself, knock yourself flat on your back to what I be jamming to. And but on here, I'll review albums. So as a music creator and a music listener, I'm a fan of music. And what I do to respect other artists, I want to know their process. So I understand. I just don't do it myself. Some people skip through an album to see what they want to hear, or they'll listen to like the first 10, 20 seconds of a song to see if they like it. To me, that don't really give, if you just skip through the album, you don't know how the album progressed. If you just listen to the first 15, 20 seconds of the song, you don't know what that person shook off in their mid-song musically. You don't know how the string chord progression happened. You don't know how the featured singer or the little congos or whatever came in at whatever point. You just kind of looking at the menu saying you ate at that restaurant, right? I don't do that. I listen to an artist's whole project, and then sometimes I sit with it and I get a feeling off of it. And however I feel about it, that'll be my take on it. And I like to listen to it early when they first drop it, so everybody else doesn't have their comment on what's what, and then that'll kind of give me a little window to jump through when I'm trying to figure out how I feel about something. That's for all the following ass, my suckers. They got to hear what somebody else said about something. But today, it's a little nostalgia wrapped up in the album I'm going to cover, because today I'm going to cover Mobb Deep's album that they just dropped called The Infinite. The Infinite. They had The Infamous, they had Murder Music, they had Hell on Earth, and I think this is their fourth one, and I might be missing one. I could easily be missing 2, 3. I don't know, but those are the ones that stand out to me. I know they had an album on G Unit Records or something. I wasn't really feeling that shit though. Let's be honest. But The Infinite. So this is put out on Nas's Mass Appeal joint, and shout out to Nas for doing good things for hip hop in 2025 as a producer. I mean, when I say a producer, I mean an executive producer. And he got bars on this joint too, but really his behind the scenes work is pushing an envelope that I think when there's some for us, by us type movements, he's doing, I swear, oddly enough, he's doing what he said he would do when he first came out in the record industry. Before Illmatic even came out, Nas said he was going to do these things. And I do not have the copy of the magazine article I read, but I remember he said this is what he would like to do. So shout out to him for keeping that constitution with himself. I fucks with it. So here we are, 2025, entering the autumn season, and for that reason, I have autumn clothes for you at grindstoneuniversal.com, the sponsor. Dig that. Go to grindstoneuniversal.com where progress is made and truth is revealed. That is the fashion line. That's where I dump my creativity, and you will enjoy. Now, speaking of creativity, first of all, in local Washington, D.C. news, there have been a couple of wonderful things going on, and there have been a couple of odd things going on where art has also played a part. So, what you want first, the odd or the beautiful? They're both beautiful, but one of them is kind of odd. I'll start with the odd. So, Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein fucked on a whole bunch of girls. Some women, some girls. And that's the big thing about the Epstein files. And they caught people on camera who they would fly out there who also wanted to have fun with girls and cheat on their wives and lie to their public and all this shit. So you have the files that were filmed, Puffy style, and you have the Epstein files, right? So with the Epstein files, people leveraged, or people got their appearances on tape in the Epstein files leveraged by Jeffrey Epstein for money, for political decisions, for who should have a little more juice in this country, who should have a little more pull in this company. So it's more than just like sex parties. They're actually blackmail files that determine the fate of countries and corporations. It's deeper than rap. So a couple weekends ago, shit, it might have just been last weekend, I get all this shit mixed up. I need a calendar on my wall, big old school calendar with the big ass squares like we in the 80s in class. But I'm going to go ahead and say it was last weekend. I went down to the National Mall and I wanted to see the statue that everybody had been talking about. And somebody, I don't know if it's anonymous or not, but some artistic citizen created a bronze statue of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein holding hands with smiles on their faces, enjoying each other gleefully. And on the bottom of it was like a little heart type joint. You know how they be doing like the little heart emoji? Yeah, it was like a little joint like that. Am I doing it right? Wait, hold on, let me see. Is that it? Yeah. They were doing like a little heart emoji joint. And it was right in front of the Capitol building. Look at the body boy then. That's like, oh, sorry to photo bomb. I love you. Yeah. I was like, holy mustard sauce. How do you, well, not before the how, let me explain what it was. It was a really well done bronze statue of both these men, full body images of these men dressed in their suits or whatever, smiling. It gave all the inference of pleasure in their faces and in their bodily postures right in front of the fucking Capitol building. So when you stand there and take a picture of it, the Capitol is perfectly well lit, like right under where their hands are held. Beautiful piece of revolutionary art. I always say that if you are an artist, use your art to say something. What a novel concept. Using your art to say something. So that was something that I went to last weekend to check it out, to just be like, you know, this is revolutionary art. And I assume the person had a permit to keep it down there for a certain amount of time. I think it's since been removed. But art can convey messages and reach parts of your perception that you might not cross a barrier through yet, because the news or the context might have just been given with words. And those words might just sound like blah, 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 wah, 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 wah. But this piece of art was really beautiful, and it highlighted something that's very sick. And the fact that it was in front of the Capitol building in the United States of America, put up there by an American citizen, was really just showing the satire of how sick the fucking society is that we're in. Another thing about where we are. So just recently, this is the political segment. The Israel-Palestine war has come to an end for now. I say for now because for those of y'all who remember, I remember in 1992 when the Rodney King riots went off in L.A. The L.A. riots went up. And then the Bloods and the Crips came together for a truce. And they were tying their rags together, taking pictures. And it was just like, oh shit, the Bloods and the Crips came together? Damn. That shit is like kind of similar scale when it comes to how many people wake up to kill each other every day and for how many years they do it. So the Bloods and the Crips came together. But then all it took was for a couple people to disagree over here with a couple people over there. And then the disagreements kicked off little skirmishes, kicked off all-out war for following decades. So, you know, the truth is, even though it's a treaty, it's all up to a couple of people to let that shit fly again. So we're going to hope for peace in the Middle East, but before we hand out a fucking Nobel Peace Prize to the president, you have to understand how he was one of many who funded the fucking war, who was on the side of the fucking genocide. So there was a genocide in the Middle East for the Israelis to knock down the damn Palestinians in Gaza. The Gaza Strip is on the Red Sea. So the beauty of this area is natural. So if you clear all the people out of there who live there and then you destroy it, it has to be rebuilt. If it gets rebuilt by the people who did the killing, they get to rebuild it however they want. So guess what's going to happen? You're going to have beaches. You're going to have resort area. You're going to have Trump golf courses. You're going to have all this shit in the name of commerce. So you have to realize that what existed there, it was a land grab, right? It was like, let's clear this land out so we could build what the fuck we want. That shit is pure colonization. So shout out to Black Panther for bringing the term colonizer into full focus. And for those of y'all who remember Black Panther Part 1, I didn't see Part 2, but Part 1, when they first walked into that museum and Killmonger was putting shit in the museum in his pockets and they were saying he was stealing, he was like, well, where the fuck you think you got this from in the first place? So I really appreciate Ryan Coogler for writing that movie and having the original theft be looked at for what it is. And so that's what we're mixed up in here in DC. We're mixed up with people, ultimate gaslighting is going on, whether it's in the news, but all that news station shit, it originates here. So it's kind of like a funky ass time because motherfuckers are lying straight to you. Is a fucking Santa Claus is real, whatever. Indigenous Peoples Day, Columbus Day. We just getting the ass end of the truth, you know? So that's where we are. Wished it was better. But now, for the beautiful side of what's going on in DC right now. Something to feel on her booty too. From the heart. If I was young and rich, I'd marry you, but I'm old and I hate so. I don't want to go so far as to call this a renaissance. But it's not a bad idea to do so. So, in DC right now, the artists in the creative community, and I'm going to go ahead and say it, especially in the Union Market section of DC, is getting fucking busy. I didn't mean to press that button. Shout out to Union Market and all that it is really decided to block. It's like a above ground plant bed of garden box of creativity and of commerce. That shit is super bustling. And it's bustling in a time when the rest of the fucking city is dead on its back. Like it just got hit with raid or black flag. The rest of the city is dead, man. Stuff is for sale, for lease, retail for sale, for lease, homes for sale. The shit ain't moving and grooving at all. But Union Market, I mean, artistically, stylistically, I'm gonna say this, and I know I'm on the late bus with this, but Union Market is actually a place where you could go put your outfit on and go walk around that fucking area. Go eat you some food. But you got your shit on because it's a place to be seen. And it's not yet pretentious. It's like, it's kind of groovy and new-ish because it's new shit popping up all the time. This weekend I just went to, and I'm going to shout y'all out. I went to another place called Manifest. So if you're in DC, it's a place in Union Market and it's a place in the Adams Morgan area called Manifest. It's a black-owned, multi-use hub, right? So the new one is hella big too. It's a barbershop place where you could buy clothes. It's like a clothing boutique, a barbershop, a speakeasy, a coffee shop, and a bar dining place, a restaurant. It's like all these shits, and you wonder, how could you mix all this shit into one? Well, that's why your slow ass gotta go, because it's hard to imagine until you get there and see it activated. The shit is really dope. I hope they make the money they need to make to stay there, because ain't nothing cheap about fixing the joint up the way they fixed it up. And to have a place that big, you got to have a real ass payroll. So I hope y'all make payroll. I hope y'all thrive. Shout out to Manifest DC. But so specifically this past weekend in Union Market, for those of you all who are familiar in DC, there's an area called, well, no, not an area. There's a Motel 6. So like right off New York Avenue before you turn in is a Motel 6. It's been there forever. It's the valedictorian for jankiness. The Motel 6 is pure jank. You wonder, like, how the fuck is this shit still here? It's just like, you would just see crackheads. You just see like the worst thing. It's just the butthole of a nice place, And so what has happened, a new exhibit has been brought there called, and I'm going to call this I don't even know what they call it. I'm going to call it an experience exhibit. It's called Room Service. Room service at Union Market. It will show only on the weekends, and I don't even know when this shit is over. I should have looked at the dates before I started telling everybody to go. But it is the Motel 6. So, at a motel, all the rooms are entered from the outside. Each room was given to a different interior designer, and each room was freely decorated. And when I say freely, like some people are selling stuff in there. Some people had places that are really friendly for taking pictures and they weren't selling anything. But each room is totally decorated and constructed by a different interior designer. And it's the Motel 6. And in that little parking lot where the Motel 6 is, it was a DJ and just like a gathering spot. And people were just really hyped to be there. And the shit was fly. And it was a creative use of an old ass space. So if you're in DC and you haven't yet been there, man, run down to Motel 6 and just see how you could put a wig on a pig and make it gig. Because that shit was like that. So DC in the arts, I'm going to give it to the city right now. In the arts, in the fashion, in a lot of different ways, I see the voices of the people coming out very uniquely. And it's not industry driven, because this city has never been driven by the big boy music industry or the big boy TV industry. Sometimes you get waves where people just get with the wave. But right now, I just see a lot of people creating. And is creating in a pressure cooker, because that's really what this is economically, which is giving way to the way people feel emotionally. Funny money will fuck with you. But the art always seems to be the way. Art always seems to be the thing with the key to freedom, right? Shout out to art. Create art, make art, go to art shows. You'll get inspired, I swear. Fuck it, I love what it's giving right now. So that brings me to what has happened in hip hop in 2025. So in hip hop in 2025, we've had hella albums come out from people whose rap careers you think were over, or you think they got put to the side by the industry of music. And now it's time to let all the young people in, all the old people out. But you've had this resurgence of people who bounce back from 20 years, 30 years, whatever, coming out with some of their most determined work. Even Chris Brown. He ain't been off the scene, but Breezy Bowl, where he's doing his damn big one on stage, arena tours, that's a 20-year celebration of his career, 20 fucking years, right? So shout out to Chris Brown. 20 years of doing anything consistently is going to bear fruit. It's going to create legacy. I mean, for Grindstone Universal, this is my fucking 27th year. So at this, I'm Grindstone. You become it. It is you. I believe that you have to be synonymous with your passion in order for that shit to do any breaking through of anything. And so this year in hip hop, you've had a lot of activity from elder statesmen in the rap game. And it's such a trip because we're talking about Mobb Deep today. I remember when Mobb Deep came out with their first notable album, The Infamous. And that was on the heels of Nas's Illmatic, Raekwon's Only Built for Cuban Link. So New York had a sound, and the shit sounded like cold weather. The shit sounded like parkas and guns. The shit was sounding fly, but it was like an authentic sound coming from a voice of the street in the same way. Well, let me not even say the street, the voice of the underprivileged. People who were in the same proximity as tremendous business, but who weren't able to get part of it because of their zip code, their birthright, and for me, that early to mid 90s era, it marked a part where people were like, I'm going to put my best foot forward and pour it into this rap music and create a change for my lineage. And if nothing else, I'm going to make sure you know how I feel right now. And so a lot of that music was very creative. A lot of that music was very driven. A lot of that music was very angry. A lot of that music was very frustrated, but it was all creative and everybody had their own unique voice. And so Mobb Deep's Infamous album, that look, you put the Infamous on right now, it'll feel the way it felt back then in terms of the authenticity of it. And you knew why they were mad, and you knew why they were frustrated, and you knew why they felt like they were superior because you're listening to this shit and it's like, damn, these are some very intelligent thoughts coming from really the forgotten parts of society. And so while New York had this stamp of what it sounded like, because you had Biggie, Nas, Wu-Tang, um, several others who I can't think of right now, but you had this sound of what New York sounded like at that time. Mobb Deep came out and it was still holding the sound of that time, but they just had a unique voice. They had a unique sound signature. And it was really widely accepted because they spoke for themselves, but they spoke for many. And even their edge, it was the edge of many because a lot of the times people feel a way, but they can't express it. And that's what the artist is here for, to express how we all feel. But by uniquely dialing in with themselves, knowing that they're one of many. And then that expression is something that a lot of people are like, yeah, I feel that shit too. That's how I feel. I be feeling that same way. So we got it back then, right? So now here you have October 2025, and their album The Infamous is out, right? I mean, The Infinite. Okay. Now let's walk through some of these joints. Now, first of all, they did a decent job at letting people know that um that this album coming out is available and that it exists. Right. So the rollout was decent. I was aware of the fact that a Mobb Deep album was coming out. And that's without even being super plugged into whatever the news and music news is talking about. Music news, rest in peace, MTV. Like they was really giving it to us. But whatever. MTV just officially cut off their antennas to the music game. But when it comes to hip hop and this underground art and this street connected art, this people connected art, this people driven and generated genre, there has been, I don't know, a lot of industry affiliation, which makes some whack shit creep in and seem like it's what's moving the needle with the hearts of the people. And then it causes confusion. A lot of agents of confusion in the music. But this Mobb Deep ain't one of them. Their rollout actually made this available to the awareness of the people. And awareness is the key, the first key to marketing, right? So I was waiting on it. The album comes out. First day it was out. So I didn't do my usual. I didn't listen to it at midnight, right? But I listened to it probably that afternoon, probably yesterday afternoon. I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, but I listened to it. And I got one question. Well, wait, hold up. Before I even go there. On production, Havoc did a great job on a lot of the beats. Some of the beats that kind of but there's some joints where it's like, oh, I love that shit. Like some of those beats are top tier on this album. But now back to my point. With 90s rappers, or people who were influenced by the 90s, 2000s, vintage rap, 2010s even, right? I got one question. Why are you mad? Like, tell us why you mad. Use your words. Why you mad, rappers? In the 90s, I understood. You were young. I get it. You were young. You were confused about shit. You didn't really know. You probably literally didn't know where your next meal was coming from. You probably just had an incident with the police. You're probably in a situation. Shit, take it back then. Bill Clinton was putting police everywhere on the street, actively raiding houses with them. Fast forward to the 2000s, George Bush was acting a complete fool. And so I understand, and the streets were active. There was money in the streets. So you might have had war in the streets over money. You might have had betrayal over money in the street. All this stuff might have been going on, several things at once. And you're young and you're expressing it. And it's not really easy to fund the movement. It wasn't easy to record music. So even recording the music was something that you had to really put your life on. You had to stand on that because it wasn't easy to get the money to find the studio, to find somebody to rock with you, to find somebody to believe in you, to open a door and let your beautiful music be heard, to let your expression be heard. You wanted to be seen. I get that. That was then, right? 2025 rappers. Why are you mad? Why are you mad?
Why you mad? Tell us why you mad.
I just don't fully get it, you know? I don't. I think in a lot of ways, a lot of rappers have felt that to rap, you have to always express anger and danger. And you might be an angry, dangerous motherfucker. But in every song, all the time, really? That ain't even how tough neighborhoods are. Tough, authentically tough people, they not always mad. Niggas be laughing, playing jokes, falling in love, having aspirations. You know what I'm saying? So, and listening to this Infinite album is a very angry album, but it's not even angry to the point where you could get into the aggression of the anger. It's like that depression kind of anger. You know, it's like drinking alcohol in the bathtub anger. You know, it's kind of dark. And not dark in a way where it's gonna make you do something aggressive. It just seems like there are parts of the sound that just sound self-defeating. They don't motivate like 90s, early 2000s hip hop did because the situations that they're expressing aren't the same. They don't have the same adversaries. They don't have the same drive. Like in right now, you're not fighting over, let's get it right.
Ain't no money in the street.
You're not fighting for that territory in the block to make your money. You're not looking like, oh, I'm gonna get that. That's gonna reach Texas, and when it gets Texas, I'm gonna take over that little town. Then I'm gonna rock out in somewhere in the Midwest. Then I'm gonna get it to Florida. By the time it gets back here, I'm gonna kick ass. I'm gonna have this much money. Then I'm gonna do it again. And everybody got to align to make that money. That ain't the life right now. So you don't have the same triggers to bring about the same result in your life. So what the fuck are you mad at? Because the songs, I'm going to say this is how I was thinking and listening to the album. The songs don't explain why you mad. You know, it's just like you're just fucking mad and I'm about to shoot you, I'm about to cut you, and niggas gonna touch you. It brings back that vintage Mobb Deep anger kind of feeling that would get your shit off in the gym or something. But you're not inspiring me to go hustle because it's not money rap. You're not inspiring me to be more of a man and to pull my pants up, look myself in the mirror and be the one, because Y'all are mad at shit that don't fucking exist no more. And if you're mad at something that does exist, it's not being explained in the song. You know, I feel like with the Clips album and with this album, the general feeling is, motherfucker, I'm mad at you for listening to this shit, nigga. Why you even listening to this shit? Boy, I'm mad at you for that shit. And I'm mad that you don't have as much money as I have, nigga. I'll take your little money before you get enough money to even talk to me about anything. I'm a musician. Bitch ass motherfucker, you better not come around here. I'm a musician. Know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. That's how I feel a lot of this music. That's how I feel this album has come off, right? But aside from me using my ears, there's a lot of music in there that makes me want to just put my ears on hold in terms of like soaking up what they saying, and I want to listen to this music. So for the listeners of the music, right? To me, the best songs on there is a song called Easy Bruh. Like just something you could just put on and just get the thumping. Easy Bruh is one of them joints. Another one, the M, the O, the B is Mobb Deep. Like that beat, Havoc did his motherfucking. He put his habaneros in his system. That shit right there is like that. Wait, what's another joint that I really fucked with? I like My Era. My Era is a joint where they're shouting out the groups of the 90s. They're talking about their era. They're talking about that real rap era. It's heavy 90s. Heavy 90s salute. And I fuck with that. Man, Clear Black Nights with Ghostface and Raekwon featured on it. That has to be my favorite song on the album because musically, there was another element changed or added into the music for everybody who rapped. So when Ghostface come on, the beat changes. When Raekwon comes on, the beat changes. And they all rap their ass off. That was an art of rap song. But that song is called Clear Black Nights. And then not to make it put too much on it, but those are my favorite songs on this album. Those are the ones that to me stand out. And I think I can't remember, but I'm kind of thinking Discontinued. I think I fuck with that beat, but I can't remember. But I'm glad that first of all, I don't demand that every artist is perfect. So this ain't no shade to Mobb Deep. Like, express yourself the way you want to express yourself. I'm really glad that you have a 2025 release. Shit, I hope you got a 2026 release. Like, don't stop this shit. But I just want to know, for real, from all the rappers, because there's young rappers on this shit too. Why you mad? And your music shouldn't leave it up. After listening to your shit, I shouldn't be questioning why you mad. Like, are there any songs where you express why? Like, what the fuck is your why? Because after a while, the shit don't seem like aggressive for a real reason. It really seems like you need help. And maybe this is a call for help. Maybe this is like a call for therapy. Ain't nothing wrong with that shit, man. Find some people to talk to so you could create a better today, a better state of mind, a better tomorrow. Like, for real. And I know we all know that there's people walking around these parts they got a fucking screw loose and they good people don't tell them. So in the music, I'm noticing that this element comes out where it just really sounds like people need somebody to talk to. And maybe putting it on an album like this, that is look, this is where the fuck I am. But there's an element of vulnerability that's left out because we still don't know the why. So the thing for me overall, I would say Mobb Deep's Infinite album is something to listen to, something to take to the lab. But cut it off before you get too fucking depressed, because it is like a if there was such thing as rap blues, this shit is like the blues, but it's less descriptive because like the blues would, like to me, Biggie, I would say his first album, Ready to Die, that was a in a lot of parts it was a blues album, but as a rapper, Biggie was so descriptive and so vulnerable that he would put his ego aside and just tell you why the fuck he was feeling the way he was feeling. And I don't feel like a lot of these 2025 rap albums tell you the why. So it's just like a lot of fucked up feelings being expressed. And yeah, it's a, as a hip hop lover, as a hip hop creator, as one who is of hip hop, rap, the street, the culture, the shit, you don't have to be fucking mad all the time. You don't have to be anything. You have to be happy. You don't have to be shit. But if you feel the way and what you're doing is communicating, tell us why. I'll give you a perfect example of who works this shit. And this motherfucker's super popular and he connects with the people. Now, he don't make my style of hip hop. He don't make my style of rap. But it's no denying he's popular as fuck. He's connected to the people for this reason. NBA Youngboy. He be all in his feelings in his music, and he tells you his why. He uses his words to really fucking explain why. And I just think that that's a word to the wise. If you're making angry rap, tell us why you mad. And for this, and with that, with that, I just want to thank y'all for being here. And if I cuss too much today, and mama was listening, sorry for my language. Thank you for joining me. Subscribe, like, comment, share. Go listen to Mobb Deep's latest album, Infinite. Get at me in the comments. Peace.